with Life with Chessie for Beyond the Gates, July 8, 2025. Okay, so first things first, let me know your thoughts on today's new episode down below. What did y'all think? Were y'all shocked about anything? Y'all shouldn't be shocked by Randy. He ain't do diddly freaking squat. He didn't do nothing. So, you know how not we all, but most of us was like wondering if Martin was hallucinating or something. Excuse me. And we was also speculating, because of the burgundy shirt, because I threw, what's his name? Smitty had on the burgundy shirt too. So we was like, maybe he hallucinated, maybe that's Smitty. No, Kenneth Beck. And it was revealed that apparently he been playing chess with Terrell for weeks now. So I was like, yeah, they say something about Martin's supposed to do something to protect his family this week, so we'll see. I think first it's supposed to be something about Terrell, and then it's supposed to be something about, I think on Thursday's episode, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, Randy didn't do nothing, y'all. He didn't do his job, and he stole Joey money. He stole his money. But yeah, okay. So on today's episode, we're going to start with Jacob, Smitty, and Malone. So Jacob and Smitty was still talking. Jacob was saying how he don't like the Smitty question his dad. He ends up mentioning Vernon about how he found out that he's connected, that he testified on behalf of Malone, and they were just talking about that. Then next thing you know, Malone came out of nowhere, and he wanted to know what they were talking about. But Smitty gave a bogus excuse, talking about something about karaoke, they family karaoke night or something. Hold on, y'all. And he was like, I could have sworn I heard you said something about dirty. So then he was like, okay, they got work to do. So when Smitty left, he ends up talking to Jacob about his bank accounts. He was like, he found out that somebody been snooping or whatever. He think it's Smitty. And he can, clear up any confusion. What did he say? How did he say he got that $500,000? I know the not the 500,000. I think the first amount was it 5,000. I don't forget, y'all. Either way go. I think the other one, he said he got an inheritance. He got an inheritance from his sister that passed away or whatever. And I was like, Jacob don't believe you, sir. He don't believe you. He didn't trust you before when he seen you with Joey. I said, he definitely don't trust you now, so you might as well save it. I said, look, everybody going to end up having different stories. Hold on. I said, he had to go think about that fast, didn't he? But yeah, I was like, he don't believe you, sir. You might as well just save it at this point. But yeah, Jacob just kept looking like he don't trust him. He don't believe nothing he's saying. He didn't believe him about the Joey situation. But yeah, let's see what else. Yeah, Malone was just trying to give an excuse so that they could get off his back or whatever. And I was like, yeah, he gonna be disappointed when he found out his daddy was involved. He definitely is. I think that was his whole thing. He was like, he told Smitty that his daddy didn't have nothing to do with it. I was like, yes, he did. Now, I don't know how he got involved. I don't know if he got something on him or what. Oh, that's what Smitty said. Smitty ends up asking him, what do you have on Elon? Do you have something on him or whatever? But that's when he indicated that they had work to do. The first was 5,000. Yeah, the first was 5,000. Thank you. Excuse me. But yeah, Randy, that's my whole takeaway. Randy didn't do nothing. But yeah, Terrell, Martin, Kenna. So Martin walked over there and he was sitting down with him, and he came over there trying to play it off. He gonna fake introduce himself to Martin or whatever. He grabbed his arm or whatever. Terrell he was just standing there smelling this stuff at first. I was like, what he smiling for? Then he finally realized what was going on. And he's like, what's going on? He's my friend. And he was trying to tell him, first of all, this is a grown man in here with you. He's talking about, he's not, a stranger. We've been talking for weeks online or whatever. I said, that don't mean nothing. That don't mean nothing. Hold on. I was like, that don't mean nothing. But yeah, Terrell whole thing, he was upset. He was like, you don't trust me. That's why we don't come to you. We got to walk on eggshells and all this extra stuff. I was like, dude, you in danger. I said, he don't want to hear that. You in danger. And he looked like he wanted to say something, but he didn't tell him nothing. He definitely didn't. But yeah, he was pacing back and forth by the time Martin got back. And he was like, he don't understand. Is there something you not telling me? What is it? Or whatever. And he looked like he wanted to say something, but he didn't. Martin didn't tell him nothing. He just got mad and went upstairs. And I said, he going to hang out with him again. He's going to hang out with him again. I can see it now. He probably already done introduced himself to Samantha, too. We'll see, though. But, yeah, he's like, he called him Kenny or something like that. He showed him his profile, and he ends up blocking him. He was like, you can't do this or whatever. I'm going to go off to college soon. You won't be able, you all know what they be saying all the time. But, yeah, Joey's next. So, Joey, okay, they showed him. He was still sitting down, and he was looking through the money or whatever. I said, something missing or something? I was like, what is it? I was like, what's going on? So he goes to get the phone. He's trying to call Randy. Why the phone ring in the trash can? I said, look, Randy, you can't be that terrified. You took the man money. I was like, what? I told y'all. Good for nothing. Good for nothing. I was like, he did all that yesterday talking about something. He's terrified of him. But you, one, you didn't do the job. The man's still alive. He had a band-aid or something on the side, so I'm assuming that Randy probably tried to hit him with the weapon to knock him out, and then he took some of the money or whatever. I don't know how it went, but it looked like it because I don't see no wounds. Talking about you shot him or whatever. Then talking about it was a witness. Man, you full of crap. And then he done found it, and he ends up. I think he told, who was that, Bill? What's that Bill he was on the phone with? I think first Joey tried to call Malone, but he was talking to Smitty and Jacob or whatever. But then he ends up talking to Bill. He said he think Randy done went rogue. He was like, that's not all or whatever. He didn't finish the job. He was like, excuse me. I said, you better run now. I said, you better run. But yeah, what else? Let's see. Bill, Haley, Danny. Danny done took her tail over here to bring a sweet potato pie to these folks. What she said, just to let you know, I made that myself. I was like, what she trying to say? She did something to it or something? I don't know. Hold on, y'all. But yeah, she came over there, and that's when she brought it. She said she wanted to let them know she glad that, Haley okay and all this other stuff. So Bill started going off. Haley started going off. Haley felt like she deserves an apology because what she did led her to go in the hospital. I was like, first of all, you faking. Second of all, you the ones went over there. Like, what? Nobody told you go over there. You went searching for your husband. You seen him. Somebody, you seen his car in the driveway or whatever, but you waited until he left to come in. Randy should have took all the money. Right, and left for something. Might as well. It's gonna cost him anyway. Might as well got all of it. I wonder how much he took. How much that supposed to be anyway? 250,000. Or was it something else? Either way it go, Kenneth told Martin that he doubling the money. I was like, But yeah, Haley wanted an apology. Bill was like, this goes no further. I thought, we squashed everything. We was good or whatever. Yesterday we had a nice little conversation. That's it right there, y'all. Squash things. Haley don't want you, on good terms with Danny. She definitely don't. But Danny don't make it no better. She always over here. She talking about, excuse me. She's still talking about how, one, ain't no baby, which I don't think it's the baby either. And two, what else did she say? She's still saying how it's going to end. I was like, she right. She was trying to let Bill know. I said, maybe one day he'll actually start to think about everything she said. And the fact that she still ain't showed him no ultrasound that she said will be emailed. She still ain't showed him that. I was like, Bill, come on now. But yeah, he be protecting Haley, though. I got to give him that. He definitely be protecting her, but he just gullible over her. He definitely is. He was just telling Danny how, he never going to leave her. That's not temporary or whatever. And they ain't got nothing to talk about until she apologized. And she was like, no. She was like, no. And that's what led her to go to Uptown or whatever. She walked in. She seen Andre and, what's the girl name? Ashley holding hands. She threw her purse or whatever it was. They end up looking. And he dropped Ashley's hand. I said, yeah, look at you. Look at you. It's your own fault. You should have told her the truth. So she wouldn't have been blindsided. I still think she would have been blindsided. But at the same time, like, you should have been honest. You should have been honest. She told you about Bill, but you didn't tell her about Ashley. You made it seem like she was imagining things. What else? Let's see. Like I said, she got mad and she left. Ashley and Andre, they was outside. She was having second thoughts about going in or whatever because, everything that happened with the proposal and Derek. So he convinces her to go in. As soon as they go in, they see Shanice and Derek over there. They see them together. So she felt some type of way. The whole time, really, she felt some type of way. She went over there and she was just talking and stuff like that, wondering what they doing there. She told Andre something about he used to be basically a cheapskate or whatever, but what is he doing there now with her or whatever? Hold on. And yeah, she went in over there to make herself known. So then they go sit down, and basically they were just sharing stuff about their career and stuff. I think Shanice was asking Derek, why he chose to be a firefighter. He was talking to her about why she chose to be what is she, a physical? What is she? What did they say she was? An RN and a physical therapist or something like that? I don't know, but they were just talking about their career paths. Andre ends up telling Ashley something about the money or some of the money that, he make off of taking photographs and stuff. He uses it to make donations to causes his parents used to, support. I said, I wonder if they're going to end up doing a storyline telling us what actually happened. Didn't they tell us something? What did they say? Was it a car accident or a plane crash or something? I don't know, y'all. I forgot. But I think later down the line, they're going to end up exploring a storyline with him and his parents. Well, yeah, they was just talking about that. He finally managed to get her to stop looking over there at Derek and Shanice or whatever. But yeah, by that time, that's when she walked in and seen them holding hands, and he dropped her hand. He ended up dropping her hand. Martin and Kenneth. Martin followed Kenneth, and he was like, "What's going on? What are you doing here, or whatever?" And he was like, he didn't get the money. His bank account was empty. He was saying how his bank account was empty or whatever. He's like, "What are you saying? I don't understand what you're trying to tell me." He was like, if anything went wrong, he kept trying to tell him he didn't know nothing about nothing. But he was like, it doesn't matter or whatever, because didn't he wasn't he supposed to be the only one there? Wasn't Martin supposed to be the only one? But yeah, he wasn't trying to hear none of that. He was like, it's too late now. I told you what would happen if you went against him. What's that? Hold on, y'all. He was like, I told you what would happen, if you double cross me or whatever. Um, he was like, you try to pull a fast one on me. He was like, I didn't have nothing to do with that or whatever. And he was like, doesn't matter, the price is double. And he wanted tomorrow morning. I was like, dog. I said, yeah, you might as well just go on, turn yourself in or whatever you got to do. Because at this point, I mean, he'll get off anyway. Look at Danny. She done went shot up the doggone wedding, and she over here walking around like it's nothing. But what's the other thing? What else was I going to say about that? I forgot. But yeah, so Martin ends up going to Bill's or whatever, and he was mad. He was like, you interrupting us and all this other stuff. So he told him, Kenneth was in his house. You said it was going to be handled. What went wrong? Y'all did all this to keep me up out the mix, and y'all still messed up. I said, right. And he was like, what are you talking about? He was like, the guy, he's still there or whatever, and now he wants more, and he was talking about how he been playing chess with Terrell and all this other stuff. So Bill was like, go home. He gonna handle it. I said, you better go home, because he already done been in your house one time, and I highly doubt Terrell gonna stay away from him unless you force him to. But even then, I doubt you can force him to. Excuse me. But yeah, he told him to go home. He gonna handle it. So that's when he ends up calling Joey. Joey tell him that Randy went rogue. He took some money. He was like, not only did he do that, but he didn't finish the job. He was like, you trying to tell me, that the server's still alive or whatever? They're like, yep, he still is, and things don't got worse. I was like, look at you. Who else? I already talked about Malone and Jacob. Hold on, y'all. Let me see. Martin tries to explain he didn't do anything. Andre shares he gives a lot of the profit from. Malone tells Jacob where the money came from. Yep, I think that's everything, y'all. Let me make sure. Martin tells Bill they shut him out just to make things worse. Terrell ends up telling Mark how he think he overreacted or whatever. How he always do that. That's why they always go to Smitty versus him. Smitty ended up coming back. I said, dude, give it a rest, please. You need to get home. Your son in danger over here. But yeah, he ended up coming back to talk to Jacob. That's when Jacob ends up telling him that Malone gave an excuse talking about some inheritance, but he don't believe him. So now they got to put two and two together and figure out what's really going on. And the last thing was Danny sees Andre holding Ashley's hand, and she was highly upset. But yeah, that's everything, y'all. What y'all think of the episode? Let me know. Hold on, wait. Let me see your comment. Oh, what does this say? Willow needs to own up to her part and all this. She got her kids taken because she has not been putting her. Yep, before she could do that, they're going to have to, what's the name of the place? Ferncliff or something? They're going to have to commit her there or something, because she's losing it. She keeps listening to Drew. Exactly. They said Drew's supposed to have something on one of his enemies this week. I'm assuming Curtis, but it might not be Curtis. We'll see. Somebody said it's going to be about the judge, but Michael didn't have nothing to do with that, though. She also believes you over Wiley. Yep. Who be at the police station the most? Cat. Who be at the police station the most? Cat or Smitty? I don't know. It's about a tie at this point. Let me see. I don't know. I said it's a tie at this point. They both be up there. But yeah, that's it, y'all. Let me know y'all thoughts on this episode down below. Stay tuned for the next review. Until next time, deuces. Have a great rest of the day. Be safe.